Hello and welcome to the Successful Start online presentation of Relationships and Money. My name is Ari Israel and I'm a graduate assistant for Successful Start, Boston College's financial wellness program sponsored by the Office of Student Services. Our program does presentations on a wide range of financial topics such as investing, banking, credit, loans, apartment rental, and more. Today, we're going to talk about a topic that is very important for many Boston College students as they may begin to enter longer-term relationships. How do I manage money with my partner? This information is useful for those who are in relationships now, those who expect to be in the future, and even many parts relevant for those who are trying to manage money amongst roommates. Let's begin. Let's start by giving you an overview of what you can expect to learn from this presentation. First, we'll discuss a bit of why this is an important topic for us to explore and why it's relevant. Next, we'll go into how to talk about money with a partner. We'll discuss what things you may want to consider before moving in with someone. And finally, though this may be a ways off for many people, we'll examine what are financial considerations you should have in mind before getting married. First, let's answer the question of why is it important to think about money in my relationships? The facts of the matter show that money and finances have a huge impact on relationships. Studies have found that 7 out of 10 couples report that money is a cause of tension in their relationship, and arguments about money are one of the biggest causes for marital issues. Cohabitation, meaning living together, and marriage both result in you and your partner's finances being intertwined in various ways. You and your partner may pay for rent together, split groceries, or even share the same bank account. Relationships do bring people closer together, and also their money closer together as well. The next question on many people's minds is, how do I talk about money with someone? It can understandably seem really tough. Many of us grew up in an environment that didn't encourage open discussion of money or considered it to be inappropriate. Others grew up in environments where money was a serious issue and a cause of conflict in their families. The best time to talk about money is sooner rather than later. When a relationship with someone is starting to become serious, bring up how money might work. It's better for you to have an open, early discussion rather than put off this issue and let it develop into something more problematic. Here are some tips we have for trying to talk about money with a partner. First, find a neutral time to talk with them. Talking about money can be a source of stress or anxiety for many couples. The goal here is to have a discussion that is calm and not upsetting. This is best accomplished when there's not a pre-existing money issue. This leads into our second point, getting acquainted. It's important to have these kinds of conversations before a relationship gets too serious. Like we have listed here, a person's financial habits offer insight into their values, ethics, and the compatibility that you have with you as a partner. If someone spends money on purchases that don't fit their budget, is that a disqualifying factor for you if you're the type of person who budgets everything out? Would you feel comfortable sharing finances with this person? Start asking yourself and your partners these questions early on into the relationship. Third on the list is making the effort to be empathetic. Your partner may very well have a different view on money than you. They may be more thrifty, whereas you might be more into spending. It's fine to have disagreements, but it's important you both still have the same larger goals in mind. This leads well into our fourth point, compromise. Be sure to support each other and try not to pass the blame. Your partner is also a financial partner of yours. Work together and come up with a game plan that addresses the problem at hand. Part of your communication with your partner should involve setting rules and limits. You should be a team. Thus, you should have rules on what you can spend and what are limits. For instance, maybe any purchase over $200 requires you to talk with your partner to make a decision. Lastly, take responsibility for your financial role in the relationship and don't just leave everything to your partner. That will more often than not result in undesirable decisions being made. Be an active member of this financial relationship. You should be sure to plan ahead of time financially when moving in with someone else. This should be a thoughtful decision and not one done impulsively. An impulsive decision could seriously stress out your relationship and cause emotional challenges. You'll also want to plan for if things don't work out. It's important for both you and your partner to protect your finances in case things don't work out. That might mean not using a joint bank account initially. Financial safety is important to consider. Now, on this slide, we'll start to talk about some of the money rules you may want to consider when moving in with a partner. First, be sure to talk about money. Communication is important to making any area of a relationship work, and that still stands here. You should share with each other what your attitudes are towards money, what are your habits, and what are your financial goals to see if you're compatible. A lot of the details that might otherwise go unsaid are important to consider here, such as your income and ability to pay. Also, address what you are willing to pay, what you are comfortable paying, and what remains comfortably within your means. Your partner should not have you feeling overstretched financially. When starting to cohabitate with someone, it is usually for the best to keep your finances separate. View your significant other with some of the financial expectations you would hold of a roommate. Joint credit cards and other forms of joint debt are exceedingly risky, especially for unmarried couples. It will be best to keep other types of financial accounts, such as checking accounts, separate as well. It could be very challenging and costly to recover these accounts in case of a breakup. If you're going to be married soon, it might be a good idea to have a joint checking account where you both deposit money for joint expenses, such as rent. However, we would still recommend keeping separate personal checking accounts for your own individual expenses. Even with a partner you fully trust, it's important to keep your finances separate. As the saying goes, if it isn't written down, it didn't happen. Be very sure to have some kind of written document explaining the rules for how much each partner will pay and what each partner will pay for. This doesn't necessarily mean you need a formal contract with both of your signatures. Even a text conversation on the phone between you both would be helpful. This way, you have a reference to what you both agreed to that can come in handy during disputes. This next bit of advice is for unmarried but cohabitating couples. Be sure to keep major purchases separate and documented. The reason for that is that you do not have the same legal protections as a married couple in case of a split. In a divorce, couples usually divide assets. No similar protections are available for unmarried couples. We do recognize that there are some large purchases that might not be affordable off just one person's income. In these cases, it's best to keep the record of how much each person paid and have an idea of what happens to the property if you split. As a similar example, my roommate and I split purchasing a pair of couches for the living room. When our lease eventually ends, we'll each take one couch unless the other wants to buy it off. Finally, avoid adding your partner's name to previous property that you own, such as a car or a home. If you're not married, this opens you up to a lot of issues. This may be something to reconsider when you do get married. However, joint purchases that are made during a relationship should be in both names. Doing so is a way of respecting the money your partner put into a particular large purchase. For the fifth and final money rule, be smart about your housing. If you rent an apartment together, both partners should put their names on the lease, just like you would do with any roommate. This offers legal protections for both parties involved in the relationship and the lease. Lastly, don't even think about buying a home unless you are ready to make a long-term relationship and housing commitment. Mortgages can last for decades. Are you so sure you'll be with this person for the coming decades? We'd recommend waiting until marriage to consider home ownership together. In this next section, we're going to go over some of the topics to figure out before getting married to your partner. It will be best done by you and your partner sitting down and discussing your goals and expectations financially. That way, you can come up with a plan. You should have a strategy for meeting both your financial needs before getting married. Both of you should be willing to make some compromises. At the same time, it is fair to recognize that some things are too important to give up. This conversation can help make sure you're compatible with your partner. First is, where would you like to be in 10 years? Discussing your hopes and dreams together will help you set priorities and identify saving goals. Second, what assets and liabilities do you have? Once you know where you stand right now, it's much easier to move forwards. If you haven't discussed it already, now may also be a good time to bring up a prenup. With about 1/3 of first marriages and half of second marriages ending in divorce, it makes sense to protect your financial interests. Third, should you keep your finances separate or combine them? The key is to find a system that works for you. Make sure you consider your individual money styles. If you are a saver and your partner is a spender, for example, You might find managing an all-purpose joint account too nerve-wracking and opt for a combo approach or separate accounts entirely. Fourth, if you have some kind of investments, such as retirement funds, what do you do with them? Whether or not you choose to combine your investment accounts is entirely up to you. It's important to view your portfolios as a whole to make sure you are not overlapping. If you both hold shares of the same stock, for example, you could be placing yourselves at risk should anything happen to that company. Fifth, how do you handle daily spending decisions? Sit down together and plot out how much you expect to spend on groceries, clothes, eating out, and other household expenses. Be sure to budget. You should also take this time to discuss other spending issues, such as how much each of you can spend without consulting the other. Sixth, who is responsible for paying bills and taking care of tax preparation for the household? No matter who ends up handling the bills in your marriage, make sure each partner knows where to find all the different account information, including websites, passwords, and bills due dates in case anything should happen and the other person needs to take over the responsibilities. Seventh, what is your tolerance for financial risk? One of the biggest culprits in marital money fights is a mismatch of risk tolerance. If you're on different ends of the risk spectrum, don't even try changing your spouse's point of view. It won't happen. Instead, try to compromise on financial strategies that both of you can stomach. Eighth, what are your insurance options? Adding a spouse to your health insurance may be cheaper than maintaining separate plans. Consider your specific health needs, then look at the costs and benefits of each person's plan choosing. Combining your auto insurance coverage will also probably save you money. You want to make sure you have enough homeowners or renters insurance to protect your combined possessions. And what about life insurance? Do you need it? If you already have some, either privately or through an employer, do you need to change your beneficiary information? These are all things to consider. Ninth, how is your credit report looking? The good news is that simply marrying a person with bad credit will not drag down your stellar record. What's his is his, and what's hers is hers. So if you apply for a car loan by yourself, your spouse's credit report won't even enter the picture. But when it comes to applying for joint financing, say you plan to buy a house together, lenders will consider both your histories. It's better to know ahead of time any potential problems than to receive the shocking news in the mortgage lender's office that you're stuck with a higher interest rate, don't qualify for as much money as you planned, or that you're being turned down for the loan entirely. You and your partner should examine your reports, look for errors, and fix them. Then, if there's room for improvement, come up with a plan to boost your credit score. 10th, and finally, how will you handle existing debt? Make a pact to pay off your debts. Start with the balances that carry the highest interest rates. You may choose to work individually or collectively to pay off your debts you accrued before the wedding, but don't add each other's names to your obligations. With all this said, we hope this presentation has helped give you a better idea of how to navigate finances within a relationship. We encourage you to visit our website, www.bc.edu/successfulstart, to view some of our other presentations and programming that we do. Email us at successfulstart@bc.edu with any questions you have, and follow us on Twitter and Facebook to see some of the content we share regarding money. We wish you success with your relationship and hope that all goes smoothly.